I could post a video tomorrow and I could become a big creator.
Brands to watch, who is doing it right and someone you should pay attention to this next year.
I really love what Chobani's doing. They're doing a lot with creators.
We had a pretty sizable influencer budget at some point.
Within the affiliate space too, these smaller creators going viral off of one video.
Word on the street is that the coupon code tracking with Impact is like just the best.
There's several different roles they could play. This is what I love about creators in general, is that not one is the same as the next, and they all sort of serve a different purpose if you think about the purchase funnel.
Welcome back to the ZeroTo1 Podcast. You are about to hear a powerful conversation with Coady Joy, who is the head of affiliate and partnership education at Impact. She brings nearly a decade of experience to the table from both the agency and the brand side, managing programs directly for W Promote, Levi's, and Dockers.
This episode is brought to you by ZeroTo1, the performance marketing agency behind some of the world's most disruptive brands today. Hey everyone, welcome to what I hope is going to be a very exciting conversation with Coady Joy and Riley, who were co-founders of ZeroTo1, and then Cody is head of affiliate and partnership education over at Impact Radius, which is one of our favorite tools that we use on a daily basis. But conversation today is going to be just diving deep around just the convergence of influencer, the creator economy, and affiliate marketing and effective strategies to unlock growth for your brand. So we're going to definitely pick your brain, Cody. I feel like I know you already because I've done the Impact training course, which you, I think, championed the entire, 20 hours of content on that thing?
It's a lot.
I listened to it at 1.5x speed, so I doubt you talk that fast in real life.
No, I mean, maybe, but not at the moment.
Well, we'll get to some topics in a second, but first, I would just love to learn a little bit about you. If you could introduce yourself, maybe unpack a little bit about what you do at Impact as a whole, and then I would love to learn about your background and how you got, to where you are today, and then we'll get into some topics.
Yeah, so I'm Cody. I am in charge of content for brands and agencies at Impact.com's Partnerships Experience Academy, or PXA for short. So I really focus on making both product and industry courses for those two personas or segments of brands and agencies. So if you use Impact, we have courses for you to learn how to use the software. And if you are managing affiliate programs in general, we also have strategy content that's platform agnostic. So if you're using one of our competitors, that's okay. We have training for you also. So my background, I actually started in influencer marketing right out of college with Pop Sugar, where I was running influencer campaigns. Back then, wasn't even that long ago, but back then it was very blog focused. So the shift to a more social forward influencer culture has been really interesting to watch and to adapt to, and things have just very, very quickly changed in the space. So that's been fun to watch. And from Pop Sugar, I moved to Levi's, where I managed their affiliate program by myself, Levi's Dockers, and then eventually Levi's Canada. And I always love to tell people that before my interview at Levi's, I had to Google what affiliate was. I didn't know what it was. I didn't realize that that's part of what I was doing at Pop Sugar. So I thought for certain there was no way I was getting that job. But, once you kind of dive into something head first, for me anyway, it's the best way to learn. So I really got a crash course in what affiliate is, and managing a very large program with very large budgets was very much a crash course. And my first task was a platform migration. So if anybody's ever done one of those, it's quite a challenge. So I really feel like I could take on anything. From there, I really felt like I wanted some agency experience. So I moved over to W Promote, where I stood up their affiliate service. In addition to taking different types of clients in new verticals I hadn't experienced before, I was also learning how to staff an affiliate team, how to sell affiliate, how to advocate for the software that you want your client to be using and why. And I feel like I maybe learned the most in that role just because of all of the different sort of facets of what came with the role that I hadn't been exposed to before, in addition to just learning how to run different types of affiliate programs, also learning how to manage a team and maintain profitability and all the things that come with an agency. So it was another big crash course for me, but very, very excellent experience. And it all kind of led me to where I am now with Impact. I've been working with Impact since I was at Levi's, and I've always loved the company. I've always loved the people that I've worked with. A lot of the people that were there when I was getting launched at Levi's are still with the company today, which says so much about the company. So when this role sort of came to my attention, I had to stop myself from going into the interview and saying, look no further, your person is here. Another fun fact is that I actually majored in broadcasting in college. So I had always sort of been like looking for the way to come back to like radio, which was my first love, and didn't work out for the long term. But this role has been just like the most perfect marriage of what I thought I was going to do with my life and what I ended up doing. So
well, there is a perfect job.
There is. Well,
you definitely have a lot of experience, which I guess is how you landed ahead of, education and partnerships, kind of teaching the whole Impact community the ins and outs of. Just a quick intro on us. Similarly, we're obviously an agency now, but prior to ZeroTo1, Riley and I were on the founding team of a company called Shipt. We're on the brand side. And so we had some experience kind of building these programs out too, for companies that, scaled out, and we ended up selling to Target after a few years and built out affiliates, performance influencer, and performance creative departments there. ZeroTo1, now we're a full service creative agency. We offer full influencer, end-to-end influencer services. One we're really excited about is influencer affiliate communities. So taking a performance lens and kind of rethinking how we do influencer building communities that are creating content on a performance basis for brands. We're doing that for brands like Instacart, Hexclad, and Lowe's currently. So we work with those category leading disruptive brands typically. And in addition to that, we're on social ad creative. So I'm interested in this conversation. We kind of come from similar backgrounds, meaning we jumped into roles and had to figure out a lot of things on the fly. And we have a pretty diverse set of backgrounds, but our perspectives are different in that we have an agency background and you're more on the platform and the tech side, kind of building solutions to support a lot of the work that we're doing for brands and a lot of the brands that are on your platform. So we should have some interesting perspectives to add. And with that, I will kick off our first topic. So first topic is just unpacking the relationship between influencers or creators and affiliate and how brands can leverage that for growth. We've seen, particularly recently, just a convergence of all of those worlds together. And especially in the last year or two, there's been so many brands interested in unlocking new growth channels, particularly that are on a performance basis. And so we're seeing that come to life in the influencer world. It's shifted a lot. You mentioned that in sort of your tee up on who you were, but how the landscape has shifted so much. And we are so excited about how the world of influencer and affiliate is converging. So first question for you, what role do you see influencer or creator affiliates role in an overall healthy affiliate program for a brand?
That's a really loaded question. I think there's several different roles they could play. This is what I love about creators in general, is that not one is the same as the next, and they all sort of serve a different purpose. If you think about the purchase funnel, there are different sort of creators that you can slot in for a different phase of the funnel. And a lot of times the smaller, more nano-sized creators are really doing a good job at driving that bottom line conversion, whereas your more, mega or celebrity creators are doing a lot of that introduction and awareness for your brand that is getting in front of the most eyeballs. So it's all about the way that you optimize with them and utilize their strengths. So especially as we move into, like you said, this world where creators are now merging so much with affiliate, we now have tracking capabilities like Impact.com Creator to be able to see how that works with the rest of your program and incentivize them accordingly. Because the other big piece of this is the economy and sort of the volatility we're seeing in the economy right now, and brands get scared quickly, understandably, but budgets get pulled very quickly. And the idea of performance, pay for performance, is so appealing, especially now, always, but especially now. So I think that creators moving forward are starting to get more comfortable with the idea of being paid for performance. and will continue to, and honestly need to keep up with the way that the industry is changing. And a lot of what we're focused on at Impact and at PXA specifically is educating them on what that looks like, how it works, and how it benefits them in the long run, how it helps to build the longer partnership. So I think it depends on how you want to use them and what their strengths are. This is why partnerships is something that will never be fully automated, is because it takes the person-to-person conversation and looking into the data to understand where their strengths lie and how you can optimize towards those.
I love that. Speaking to influencers now, what is the benefit of a performance-based relationship? How would you communicate to someone who maybe is not familiar with that type of structure?
What's the benefit for the brand or for the influencer?
For the influencer, the brand, obviously, because we're working towards better CPAs, better ROAS. We can make that case pretty cleanly, but influencers maybe not speak that same language often. So how would you communicate to them the benefits of that type of structure?
It's a lot of it's all about flexibility. Like, creators have stacked content calendars. Things can get really jam-packed with requests and seasonality, and it gets hard to also like maintain your authenticity to your audience. So when you remove the must post this for this flat fee aspect of it, and you say, hey, post what you want. If you like the product, post as much as you want. You can include other brands in there if you want to, or kind of just letting you do what's best for your audience, and we'll pay you any commission on any sales you drive. It gives the creator more flexibility to not only post when it feels most natural to them and when they actually like a product, but also it feels much more authentic to their audience. It's becoming so saturated also with the whole sponsored ad thing. There's just so much, and it's still very effective. And people still really look to peer-to-peer marketing to buy things. But when it comes, I mean, I don't know about you, but I can tell when I'm following a creator and they actually like the product versus when they don't. It's, to me, super obvious. So sort of having the whole, we'll pay you if you perform, post when you want, that kind of thing, makes it feel much more authentic. And it builds the partnership. It strengthens the partnership because it's much more like mutually beneficial versus historically a brand just handing over a very large sum of money for something they hope will perform. So it's mutually beneficial, and it's building that partnership and that mutual trust that the partnership will be successful.
I got a question for you. So how have you seen, like, how much has influencer changed from your days at Pop Sugar? Because I know for us, when we were at Shipt, that was kind of the situation that we walked into. We had a pretty sizable influencer budget at some point, but I feel like over the past few years that has shifted to, brands really looking at influencer as a performance channel. So how has influencer changed from your experience, from your days at Pop Sugar to now? Like, what does the current landscape look like?
A ton. There are some things that have changed and some things that have stayed the same. I think back then it was very, like I said, it was super blog focused. Like, posting on the blog was the bread and butter of every creator I worked with. And then social posts was an added bonus for like a few $100 extra, which is not the case anymore at all. The one thing that hasn't changed and it has actually shifted in the other direction is product seeding or product gifting. And so when I was at Pop Sugar, they would send a ton of product, which was beneficial for me because I got extra. But now we're seeing that brands want to only send product. Right. And it comes with the whole, we understand that this doesn't guarantee that you'll post, but we want to send you this product in the hopes that you like it, in the hopes that you post about it. That's something that won't change, is without, at least it isn't changing yet. It might in the future, but for now it's the whole no flat fee, no guarantee. But again, like, that could change as things progress. And that's where the whole building the relationship with a CPA model really comes in handy, because you can sort of demonstrate the value to the creator and hopefully get secured guaranteed coverage for a CPA exchange. But that was not at all the case back when I was at Pop Sugar. We were using affiliate links solely for tracking purposes. Like, there was no commission being paid. It was tracking only. And not a ton of people even got insight into the tracking that was being driven. So things have changed significantly, and I think we'll see that continue to go in that direction even further. And of course, now social is king, like TikTok especially, but Instagram will always have a really strong presence with creators. It's number one.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because when we were at Shipt, same thing. We would provide grocery credits as our gifts. We had a very robust gifting strategy, but we did not pay out on a CPA. Like we would track it through UTM, but it wasn't for the purpose of paying out a CPA. It was just to track kind of the success of the campaign. But it's interesting to see, a lot of the brands that we work with wanting to focus solely on how can we recruit influencers as a part of our affiliate strategy. And gifting is a strong part of that. But I'm curious, I know you mentioned this a little bit, but why do you think, because we're seeing the same thing, which is it seems like influencers are more open to working on a CPA basis now than ever before. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because budgets are shrinking and most of the companies that, companies with marketing budgets are just focused on performance or are focused on, kind of revenue driving activities? Like, why do you think influencers are more open now than ever before to kind of work under that CPA model?
I think they're definitely seeing a bit of a pullback in the fees that they've been getting. Like you said, budgets are definitely a very big concern for a lot of companies, and swallowing the pill of a massive influencer fee is becoming more and more challenging without any sort of guarantee of performance. And I think with technology too coming into play, where we can be tracking creators as affiliates, is also something that brands are sitting there thinking, why aren't we doing this instead? All of our other affiliates are operating in this way. Why can't we have our influencers do the same? And, on the creator end, they're learning more about it. It's becoming more common because they're learning how it works and seeing results, most likely. So that's, I think that's why we're headed in that direction. And if we continue to have a rocky economy, we'll continue to see this continue to grow.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the one thing I'd probably add to that is competition. I think because of, the social, because of short form platforms and, Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, I think that has created an environment and an atmosphere where anyone can be a creator, and any post, any piece of content can reach a bigger audience, where before it was like, it was really dependent on the audience that you did have. So I think that competition and that ability to kind of reach more people than your current following has probably created kind of that opportunity where there's a lot of creators that maybe weren't considered influencers in, 2020 or 2021, but now with how these platforms work, they can make a nice additional income, even with a few hundred or a few thousand followers, where I think before that wasn't the case.
It's so true. TikTok has made it open to the masses. Anybody can be a creator. All you need is one good topic to go viral and you're set. And those are the creators that are very eager to start looking at these different types of compensation models, because they're newer to the industry, newer to the game. They're still learning how it works, and they want to build these partnerships as much as the brand does. So I think the other thing we're going to see is brands wanting to work more with these smaller creators that are newer to this space and getting in ahead with those types of people versus the creators that have been around since I was at Pop Sugar, that have those large established followings but are much more expensive.
For sure. Moving us to segue into tooling. So you obviously work at Impact. So your answer can be, feel free to plug Impact. It can be an inside Impact tool. It could be outside Impact tool. But certainly software is a necessary piece of what we'll get to in a second, which is building that like community flywheel of influencers who are working on a performance basis. So question for you there. How exactly do tools impact the efficiency and the outcome of an influencer affiliate campaign?
It's everything. It's everything. How will you know if it's successful or what worked or what didn't work without it? Honestly, like I think back in the day when I was somewhere like Pop Sugar, when we didn't have our hands on even as much data back then, it was really challenging to get a good grasp on what success looked like with influencer type campaigns. It was almost impossible. You can look at impressions, you can rely on what the creators are seeing on their end, but having access to that data changes everything. And having access to the data for not just your influencer campaign, but the halo effect that it has later. What does it look like 30 days after in paid social or even in SEO or in paid search? Like, what is the long-term effect of this campaign? If the focus is awareness, even if it's conversions, it always has a halo effect. Being able to track the entire consumer journey and the way that all your channels and all your affiliates are playing with each other makes it so that you can make informed decisions when you move to the next thing. Who you work with again, how much budget you put into it, what the seasonality of it looks like. You need all of that information to make those decisions appropriately, especially when you're spending budget on things when it's so tight. You need to be able to make the case for yourself. So having the right software in place makes it a lot easier for you to show tangible results and get the budget you need to continue doing the things that are working.
What do you have any specific recommendations or any specific tools that you can highlight or certain features that would improve experiences on either end, the brand or the influencer?
Yeah, obviously I'm going to recommend impact.com, both our Radius product, our Partnership Cloud product, and our Creator product. So those can be used hand in hand. The Creator software is a lot of advanced technology and sourcing the right creators, building out campaigns, and also incentivizing them. It ties to the CPA structure of our traditional affiliate program. So all of it is in one place. And when you look at the reporting, like our other tool, our optimized tool, shows what I'm talking about in terms of the consumer journey and where other channels are coming in and out, and where creators are coming in and out of the given conversion journey. And even on a more holistic level, seeing which campaigns are successful when, which creators are successful with what type of social, right? So if you have one creator that's really strong on TikTok and Instagram, we have reporting on the creator side that will show you which one is driving more or less than the other, so you know what to move forward with. So definitely, I would say like impact.com Partnership Cloud for your affiliate management, impact.com Creator for your creator management, together even stronger, and then our Impact Optimized reporting suite to get that understanding of the way that the consumers are interacting with this content and ultimately what's leading them to purchase.
And what would you say? I think there's a lot of options out there when we look at influencer tools. And I know the Impact Creator tool is, I feel like, the newest in terms of your suite of products.
Yep.
So can you talk about like what advantage does the Impact Creator tool have over some of the other options out there in the marketplace?
The fact that we can tie into Partnership Cloud, honestly, because we get conversations with clients all the time. And I even in past lives at an agency, and even back when I was at Levi's, we were looking for a solution that was going to house everything in one place because there's so much overlap between traditional affiliate marketing and creator marketing. It's becoming one. It's already happened. So having the main advantage is having it all in one place where you can run it all, track it all, have multiple people involved, and see everything in one spot is the best thing for anybody managing these programs together. It makes life a million times easier.
I've heard word on the street is that the coupon code tracking with Impact is like just the best. What do you have to say about that?
I love it. I love it so much because the other thing is with creators, it can be challenging to properly credit or track them, especially if they're mostly using social and can't always include traditional affiliate links the way that we would hope them to. So having coupon and promo code tracking changes everything because now we can. They can promote whatever they want with unique codes, their own code. We can make sure on our end that they're not getting leaked to the masses and that people aren't, using these codes that shouldn't be, and that the right people are getting credit for use of these codes. So yeah, that's one of my favorite things.
Love that. Software is certainly important when we are building these influencer affiliate communities for like one of our clients, Lowe's or Instacart. Our goal is to build, we call this community flywheel, but we're focused on building like a branded community, a brand owned community of affiliates, almost like an ambassador program. Impact being that like critical integration piece where we're able to, prospect and recruit. And then from there, we are trying to figure out how to best engage an affiliate or creator over the long term and really nurture them into being a successful affiliate over the long term. It's one thing to just get someone to opt into your program. It's entirely another thing to get them to create content for your brand on an ongoing basis and be an active part of the community. So that's a lot of times what we are helping brands strategize and implement, that sort of flywheel of activation to engagement, which ultimately resulting in revenue for the client. But from your perspective, how important is that like post activation sort of nurture engagement relationship really with creators or affiliates in particular?
It's crucial, especially as we move to a more CPA focused model. If brands want creators to work with them on a CPA basis, you have to nurture the relationship because that's what they're getting from it versus an upfront flat fee. So it's so important understanding what products did you like? What did you not like? What can we send you again? Like, how can we make promoting us easier for you? Changes everything about the partnership. It's so creators want to work with brands who want to work with them. So if they feel like it's mutually beneficial, they're far more likely to engage with you on a regular basis, but you have to put the time in.
Yeah. How do you see that process differing from like a traditional affiliate versus an influencer, that like relationship piece?
You know, it doesn't differ if you're running your program correctly. It doesn't differ too much from the top partners that you're engaging with on a regular basis in the affiliate space, because for them, you should also be nurturing those regularly if you want to be included in things like beta placements or even getting free placements from them. If they have extra inventory, they're going to pick their favorite people to give that to, or the brands they feel will drive the most for them. So you want to be top of mind. It's always about being relevant and top of mind for your partners. So it doesn't differ too much because you really should be giving that much dedicated attention to all the partners that you want to see success from. It gets tricky as your program gets larger. So you kind of have to be selective with the partners that you engage with the most, or, be able to staff for that. So that's where it gets a little bit sticky, but you need to be able to give that attention. And creators even more so because they're used to working with brands on that like one-on-one level. In a really dedicated way. So you just want to nurture that maybe a little bit extra, but the way that you would with your other top partners.
Do you have any specific tips or tactics that you could recommend to do that with influencer affiliates?
Yeah, I mean, in Impact, we make it very easy. We have a lot of messaging tools that you can just talk to them through the UI, through chat and that kind of thing. So I recommend frequent check-ins. Plan a calendar for it. I love spreadsheets. I have so many. It stresses my husband out when he looks at my browser because there's so many spreadsheets open, but I like to keep track. So I'm on top of who I've talked to when. And you can also do that in the software now too, with notes and things like that. We can keep track of the last time you spoke to somebody, what the conversation was about, that kind of thing. So you want to make sure you're regularly checking in. That's, top priority. And every creator will be a little bit different. You can sort of suss the vibe of like what the creator is going to require from you. Some are a little more hands-off, some are super hands-on. You want to make sure you're adapting your style to what is going to work best for them. That's how you'll get the most out of them. So if that's a bi-weekly check-in, if it's a monthly check-in, if it's a quarterly check-in, whatever is working best for that partnership, you want to make sure that that's in place. And if you feel like maybe they might need a little more, then you up the frequency a little bit more. And make sure you're sending them product on a regular basis too. That kind of thing is also, it goes a very long way. And also learning things like, that's the thing about partnerships. There's so much that's a personal aspect of it. Like, do they have children? What's going on in their life? Is it their birthday? Like, what can you connect with them? How can you connect with them on a personal level? Frequently, which also helps build a relationship. I think you'll probably agree when you're working at an agency, it's the same thing when you work with a client. You start the conversation with something that's more connecting, something that's more personal to help build that relationship, build that respect and that trust. So same thing goes for creators. You want to make sure you're connecting with them, and that's how you'll get the most out of them.
We always say, they're humans at the end of the day. And I think this was the strategy we used at Shipped, and it's the strategy that our team uses today. And it can be difficult when you're looking to build a program at scale, but any opportunity we can get with them and get them on the phone, we find that is the best way to build a relationship with an influencer or an affiliate that will be, it really lays the foundation to build like a win-win relationship where
100%.
You're getting competitive rates, or you're getting just the best deal, but also making sure that they feel supported and feel like there's an open line for them to give feedback. And we always found that just like getting on the phone with them set us up to have just a long-term relationship that was best for us and the influencer affiliate.
Absolutely.
We love to spotlight winners too. So like you can do a case study. One of our favorite tactics is to find someone who's doing well in the program and build a case study around them and share out their content, give them kudos, like celebrate them within the community so they feel that love back from the brand, maybe share their content on the brand's channels. And then the sharing out of a case study to the rest of the affiliates is often a motivator because they're seeing, oh, this is what it looks like to be a top performer in the program. And here's an example of their content and the playbook they're using. So that can be a motivating and inspiring piece of content for the rest of the community too.
100%. Yeah.
And influencers need so much more of that. I think that's where we see the biggest difference between our top influencers and our top affiliates. It's really thinking through creative and content that we can create to inspire them and keep them activated, and testimonials, spotlights, case studies. I know leaderboards is a common tactic with affiliates, but we find that stuff is like the content that you can create to feed the community and inspire the community goes a really long way in building a community of influencers that are creating content on a performance basis.
And a little bit of healthy competition. Never hurt anybody.
No doubt.
All right, let's talk offer strategy. Obviously, getting people to opt in and then motivate them to take action can be challenging. And that offer strategy is a huge piece of what can drive success. Question here. So what should be considered? What factors should be considered when coming up with an offer strategy for an influencer affiliate program for a brand? How do you strike a balance between an attractive offer while also maintaining that profitability for the brand?
There's a few things you can do. And I think a lot of it is also keeping in mind the test and learn aspect of partnerships marketing, especially when you're launching something new. Not everything is going to work. So you need to be a little flexible with making changes as time goes on. But there's a few things. So the first is always going to be something that will increase cart value. I love offers that are, spend X amount or you get X percentage off. Things that are going to increase that AOV or cart value at the end of the day helps protect margins in a massive, massive way. The other piece of it is one-time use codes. Some companies don't love to make them. It can be a bit of a pain. I understand that, but the one-time use codes are also really important to make sure that nothing goes wild. We've all had the experience in affiliate where a code got leaked and all of a sudden maybe it was accidentally stackable with something else and now you're out of shoes or something. We've all had that nightmare scenario happen to us. So one-time use codes, while they're sort of annoying to make and continue to pass out, make sure that that doesn't happen. So things like that are things to keep in mind. And also when you're giving a creator a unique offer, make sure that it is actually unique to them. Don't give every creator the same offer because you want to be able to test which is going to work the best for the audience. So there's other things you can do like in impact, making sure that whenever a code is used that's designated for a specific creator, they're the ones that get the credit. So that discourages other affiliates from using the code or promoting the code and making sure that anytime it's used, the creator who it's meant for is getting credited for it. So the biggest piece, though, like I said, is test and learn and make sure you're implementing a promotion that will protect your margins. The other thing that I meant to mention first, actually, is competitive analysis. It's very important to see what your competitors are doing, what kind of offers they're giving, so that you have a reference point if things are really not working. It might be because your biggest competitor has a much more compelling offer at the same time. So, and that goes for all of like affiliate and creator, not just for this specific strategy, but you always want to know where your competitors are at from an offer standpoint. So you know how to position yourself against that.
And is the thinking the same around incentives, or is there any other things to consider when thinking about how you're going to pay out creators or what their commission structure and mix of incentive is going to look like?
I'm a big fan of like double commissioning. I know that a lot of people are very hesitant to do that, but I love the idea of crediting the first and last click, honestly, because then I feel like the introducer who, was the one to, get the ball rolling gets credit, and the one who closed it still gets the credit that they've become accustomed to in the way that we've structured affiliate programs forever and ever. Brands get nervous when I say double commissioning, understandably, but there are ways to do it efficiently. And if that's bringing commission down for both partners and ultimately you're still paying less, that's a good way to do it. But it's appealing, right, for creators who mostly operate in the more awareness sort of phase of the funnel and aren't always going to win that last click. It would incentivize them more than your competitor who maybe is still only paying on last click. The other thing you can do is a hybrid model of flat fees and commission, if that makes sense for your company. So you can also do performance bonuses, which is something you can implement and impact. If a creator drives X amount of orders a month, maybe you bonus them $1,000 or something like that. So I would always encourage people who are launching this type of program to get creative with the way they commission. Don't be afraid to try new things, because now that we have access to see the way that these partners are all working together, we should be compensating them accordingly. Like, we have the information now. Let's kind of do away with this traditional last click thing. We can just see more now, so we should be acting on it.
Definitely. Love all those tactics. We do a lot of hybrid structures, CPA plus flat rates. Sometimes there's some education that's involved in communicating with the influencer and kind of painting the picture of what that means for them. We've had a lot of success with that. I think getting creative with incentives is always good. We're looking kind of across, obviously cash, commissions, free product. But there's other things, too. We love the tiered structure. So giving people something to shoot for. So where you have, performance unlocks every layer, will unlock a better commission or a new product set or something along those lines. So you can kind of give that North Star and then have a way to celebrate, the winners and have them feel a sense of success, that they're doing well. So having like a gold tier and a platinum tier, for example. Love to do, just get as creative as possible and then test, be pretty broad with the approach and gather feedback in the process and kind of optimize towards where you're getting the best traction, particularly early on.
Yeah.
Okay. We can shift into connecting with affiliates. We talked some about this already, just relationships. Really, it's the foundation of the work is that relationship, and that's what we kind of build results on top of. But what are some engagement strategies that you found to be successful in connecting with your affiliates or your influencers to create better results?
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of them, mostly that personal connection and remembering things that are coming up in their lives and reaching out when milestones happen. That attention to detail is very, very important. And I think also another big thing is just asking them their opinion. I don't know if a ton of brands do it, but when you send them free product without asking them to post, what did you think of it? Do you want to try something else? What are you interested in trying on our site? How do you think that last campaign went? What are you seeing from your end? Sharing data, transparency, sharing metrics, all of these things really help build that feeling for the creator that they're equally as involved in this process as the brand is. They're not just an asset the brand is using, they're a partner for the brand. So I love asking creators what they think of the way things went, what they think of products, how they feel the partnership is going, what they think can be improved. Feedback is essential, and just asking them for it goes a really long way.
Totally agree. Last topic, staying ahead of the curve. So understanding emerging trends and shifts. So question here, what emerging trends do you see as having the most impact on affiliate in the coming year?
I think it's going to continue to be these smaller creators going viral off of one video. I think that's where the money is going to be. It already kind of is, but that's where we'll really start to see it pick up, because the pool of influencers is just growing so rapidly with every second that passes. Like, I could post a video tomorrow and I could become a big creator if I have the right topic with the right audience. So lightning in a bottle is happening a lot more regularly now. And brands who are staying on top of things like new social channels, I don't know if Threads is going to take off or not, but if I were working at a brand right now, I'd sure be on it and be keeping track of how things are going in the influencer space on Threads. So as these new social platforms come up, it's really important that you have at least one designated person who's on top of it and monitoring what's going on and monitoring how people are monetizing on these apps, just so that they can really get ahead of the way that the curve is going to go. I think we learned a lot with TikTok, especially over the pandemic, and the way that it exploded so quickly, and how a lot of brands were sort of scrambling to get their strategy up and running for it. So the brands that will succeed are the ones that are on top of these new social channels as they come to the forefront.
What's on the horizon for Impact? Any exciting things coming down the pipeline?
Always. We're really fine-tuning and, making our creator product as wonderful as possible. It's so exciting to see it start to be really successful for brands and creators, and being able for us to make content that helps brands be able to use it and creators learn more about it. That will definitely continue. We also just announced our partnership or acquisition of Sasquatch, which is a referral software. So now we can also start the referral side of it and have really all of our partnerships in one place, truly in one place. So that's also super exciting for us. And I think it opens the door for a lot more in terms of brand ambassadorships and like what that looks like. So there's never a dull moment at Impact, but I can promise you that anything you need to know will be available on PXA to learn about. Yeah, we're just always trying to stay on top of the many things that we're doing at any given moment.
Yeah, we agree. I think, we're building our agency to kind of capitalize on this opportunity, but we believe that 2024 and 2023, but 2024 is the year of influencer affiliates. I think all of our clients are coming around to it. A lot of the tech is building to support that in a very frictionless fashion, which y'all are doing a great job of. So it's exciting to see, and it's exciting to see how far it's come this year, but it's also really exciting for us to kind of take a look into the future and just predict based on what's currently happening that I'd say most companies are going to be looking at how to unlock profitable revenue from influencers. And I think the ones that do it the best, it's not going to come down to, how can you recruit these influencers? I think that's part of it, but it's going to be like how can or who can build communities of influencers that want to join their program and feel supported, because obviously this is new for influencers to want to create content on a performance basis, but I think some brands are doing a good job of it. But it'll be interesting to see how all these how these brands solve for it and kind of look to tap into this opportunity, which again seems to be, in our perspective, the biggest opportunity of 2024.
Yeah, totally agree. For me, it's fun to watch. I'm excited to see how it goes. And I agree. I think a lot of brands are really focused on scale of an influencer affiliate program, but you need to make sure you have the proper foundation laid and strategy in terms of nurturing these relationships. Then that leads to the scale. So nailing that down is crucial.
Yeah. All right. Last rapid fire question. This will be for both of you guys. Brands to watch. Who is doing it right and someone you should pay attention to this next year?
On my end, I really love what Chobani's doing. They're doing a lot with creators and within the affiliate space too. So if you see any content from Chobani coming, it's really exciting, and their creators are open to a lot of fun tactics. So I'm enjoying watching that client continue to grow.
I'll give one of our clients a shout out. Let's say Instacart with the Tastemaker program. I think it's a very successful program that we've been building for the past 12 months, but excited to see it's been very publisher focused and recipe blogger publisher focused. So excited to see how that just transforms, and excited to see like what happens with social creators when that gets added to the program. And then I'd say another program that's doing a great job is Caraway Home. I think they've been able to generate 13% of their annual revenue from their influencer affiliate program. They also do a great job at partnering with influencers within their community and extending that content to support their paid channels. So I'd say they are kind of the gold standard. I'd say they kind of occupy that tier of really leaning into community as a channel and doing it successfully at scale.
Yes, we didn't even get into UGC or utilizing the creative in other channels. That is so massive. I feel like we could do a whole nother session on that. But yeah, if you're not utilizing your creators' content for other channels, you need to be.
100%. I mean, we're just seeing from our side with our clients, like UGC is the top performing ad creative type. And that's the power of these communities when you do it correctly is, these creators are already creating the content and you can take, a more intelligent approach to your UGC by partnering with creators that just have experience selling to your target audience, but also can extend content that's already converting on the paid side. So we see that's why we're bullish on these communities outside of just direct revenue generated from the program is really, having that community and having that consistent pipeline of UGC creative being developed, which also allows you to come down on, your ad creative production costs.
Totally.
If you don't have a community.
Sounds like we got an episode 2 already planned how we leverage communities to drive a pipeline of UGC for a brand. So let's do that. But where can people find you?
Many places. You can find me on LinkedIn, Coady Joy. I'm very responsive to every message I get. And then on the Partnerships Experience Academy, which is pxa.impact.com. Please reach out, take some courses, give us feedback. I'm always available for chats, advice, strategy, whatever. Just reach out.
Definitely. I'll give my vote of confidence for the course. I took it, somewhat recently and it's very good. So definitely make sure you do that if you haven't already. And likewise, we're on LinkedIn as well. So if there's any follow-up questions, want any sort of resources or unpacked case studies on any of the brands we mentioned or shouted out, feel free to reach out. Happy to be kind of a helping hand in the community. And yeah, Coady, it's been a great pleasure to have this conversation with you. I hope it was helpful for everyone watching. And let's do it again.
I learned a lot. Thanks, Coady.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye-bye.